humans, bears, and all you woodland creatures. Barry Bear here with today's top headlines. We've got some big stories, so let's dig in. Like I dig into a pot of honey. Japan's ruling party, the LDP, might lose its majority in the lower house. Tough break, fellas. It's like betting on bamboo for your den and finding out it's just more rocks. Voters are restless, and the LDP might need to put some honey on their policies to sweeten things up.
The ruling party, the LDP, may lose its majority in the lower house when elections take place at the end of next week. Well, such an outcome for the Liberal Democratic Party hasn't been seen since 2009. And the LDP needs 233 seats to achieve an outright majority in the 465-seat lower house of the Diet. And when it comes to the upper house, Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has been relying on another political party for a majority. The party in question is Komeito, Japan's largest Buddhist lay foundation. While recent polls suggest that LDP may need this coalition in the lower house as well. Komeito generally backs the LDP, but the same polls have found that the party might fall below the 32 seats it had before the election was announced. The LDP will face off against the main opposition, Constitutional Democratic Party, next Sunday, the 27th of October.
In North Korea, Kim Jong-un declared South Korea a hostile state. Wow, didn't see that coming. Said no one ever. The two Koreas are back to giving each other side-eye across the DMZ like it's a family reunion gone wrong.
North Korea says that its revised constitution now defines the South hostile state. It follows leader Kim Jong-un's call earlier this year to designate Seoul as its main enemy. The North also plans to continue building permanent defenses along the border after demolishing transport links on Tuesday. All this in a week of heightened tensions, which saw Pyongyang accusing Seoul of sending drones to scatter anti-North propaganda. And that prompted the U.S., Japan and South Korea to condemn both the claim and for the North increasing tensions. A team involving 8 other countries was also formed to monitor potential violations of UN sanctions by Pyongyang. Official oversight of Pyongyang's banned nuclear and weapons program ended after Russia vetoed the renewal of a UN monitoring panel. Now the new grouping says it will address the threat arising from the North's ballistic missile program by tracking and reporting violations of the UN Security Council resolutions.
Ukraine's future with NATO is looking bright. They're set to join the alliance. And you thought joining the PTA was intense. NATO's rolling out the welcome mat for Kyiv, and you can bet Russia's not thrilled about this new neighborhood watch.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stressed the importance of unity amongst NATO members for the Ukrainian cause after meeting with the alliance's chief. Zelensky has been presenting his 5-point victory plan to Ukraine's Western allies, aimed at prompting Russia to end the war through negotiations. However, the plan hinges on an element likely to make Western allies balk, a formal invitation into NATO while the fighting continues.
Strengthening of Ukraine, it's not only depending on the weapon, this kind or that kind, it's depending on the will. If our partners will not lose their unity, we will not lose.
And
this strength.
And we will not use that. We will not lose that unity.
It's
you
so
can count
important.
on that. And my message today to Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin is that if he thinks we will not. And
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said that Ukraine's place is amongst NATO's ranks, but he would not say when it might join.
Speaking of Russia, North Korea looked to be assisting Russia in its invasion of Ukraine, raising fears about World War III. Great! Just when I thought my biggest problem was running out of salmon, now it's global chaos. Thanks, Kim.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky warned that North Korea supporting Russia would be a first step towards a world war. Zelensky claimed the country's intelligence services found evidence suggesting 10,000 North Korean troops were training to join Russian forces. It comes after Zelensky presented his victory plan to EU leaders at a high-level summit in Brussels.
We know about 10,000 soldiers of North Korea that they are preparing to fight against us. And this is the first step to a world war.
Zelensky said he received majority support from EU countries for his victory plan, which includes permission to fire long-range weapons into Russia. He emphasised the importance of receiving support from Western allies, but criticised that it often arrives slowly. Zelensky said the victory plan would result in an end to the war no later than next year. He also said he would like to present the document to Russia at a potential future peace summit.
And in the latest from the Middle East, the U.S. struck Iran-backed Houthi rebels. It's all part of a complex chess game where nobody's really sure who the grandmaster is, but the pieces are definitely flying. Here's hoping cooler heads prevail.
In the Middle East, U.S. bombers striking Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen, while Israel is preparing to strike directly against Iran in retaliation for a missile attack earlier this month. For correspondent James Longman is in the region. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. Lebanon is now in deep crisis. 1 in 5 people have now fled their homes as a result of Israel's invasion. That humming sound, you might be able to hear that, is the sound of an IDF drone over Beirut. Meantime, the US has hit targets in Yemen overnight. They used B-2 stealth bombers to strike Houthi rebels backed by Iran.
The Houthis are backed by Iran and have taken credit for attacking ships in the Red Sea for the past year in response to the war in Gaza. It comes as Israel pushes deeper into South Lebanon. 1.2 million people have now been displaced, the IDF unleashing huge airstrikes. A local mayor and 15 others were killed here, where the UN says they were planning humanitarian responses. Israel says they targeted Hezbollah. And here, a massive IDF detonation obliterates an entire Lebanese village. And another alleged Israeli attack on a UN peacekeeping station. The UN says an IDF tank appeared to fire deliberately on their post. The IDF says the incident is under review. Meantime, Prime Minister Netanyahu has approved a series of targets for retaliatory strikes against Iran. Netanyahu's government has given the White House a general sense of those targets. It's understood the Biden administration is, quote, relatively satisfied. The timing of the strike remains unknown.
Meanwhile, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance is still saying Trump didn't lose the 2020 election. Vance, buddy, I have better luck convincing folks I caught the biggest fish than you do with that one. And I'm a bear.
First of all, on the election of 2020, I've answered this question directly a million times. No. I think there are serious problems in 2020. So did Donald Trump lose the election? Not by the words that I would use. Okay? So look, we could, but look, I really couldn't care less if you agree or disagree with me on this issue. I've been asked just in the past 2 weeks, I think I've been asked probably 8 or 9 questions about 2020, and I give an honest answer because I think it's important to ask the question or answer the questions that are asked. But how many questions have I been asked about why Pennsylvanians can't afford gasoline?
Well, that's your bear-sized bite of today's news. Remember, when the world's going wild, find yourself a comfy cave and hibernate, at least for a while. Catch you next time.